My first question is to Mr. Sue this morning. Do you take this report seriously, Mr. Sue?
Very seriously, yes.
Okay, you say in your written testimony that you are committed, and I quote, committed to holding any employee engaging in misconduct accountable, and your main objective is to protect the employees. Do you believe this?
Yes.
Why have you not taken action to fire Mr. Gruenberg at this point?
The actions we're focused on are actions that I can influence, which relate to hiring a third-party expert.
You can't influence his continue to be at the head of this agency?
That decision is for the White House and for the Senate.
Can't the FDIC board do something about this?
I'm sorry?
Can't the FDIC board do something about this?
The FDIC board doesn't have authority.
What happens if Mr. Gruenberg commits a felony or winds up in jail tomorrow? Who takes over?
I think under the rules, then the vice chair would.
We have a vice chairman. I'll be darned. Okay, Mr. McKernan. Do you take this report seriously?
Absolutely.
In your testimony, you say that you hope accountability is not far off. Do you believe this?
Do I believe it's far off?
Yeah.
I'm not particularly optimistic we'll see accountability soon.
Okay. Yeah, well, I'm concerned about that part. You also say the reconciling report comes down to a question of leadership. An organization can prioritize protecting employees. It can root out wrongdoers and make an example of them. But we need leaders. Why are you not taking action? Why are you not pressing for Mr. Gruenberg to resign?
Well, I am pressing for the board to take a more active role. To your earlier question, I think there's a real question here that we at the board need to consider during this interim when we're waiting for a new chair, or we're waiting for the current chair to resign and have the acting chair. I think the board needs to take a more active role here, and I have been pushing for that.
Well, I appreciate that, because I think you're talking a minute ago about having leaders and solving these problems. And you guys are in a position, Mr. McKernan, Mr. Sue, of being leaders in this situation. As leaders, you need to step up and stop the nonsense. Otherwise, you're an enabler. You continue to allow this to go on. You're no better than Mr. Gruenberg, in my mind. If you allow it to go on, it's got to be stopped. Mr. Kim and Ms. Manu, is rape a crime? You both are attorneys. You tell me.
Yes, rape is a crime.
In your report, you indicate that at this hotel that a lot of the FDIC folks go to when they're in training, there was a rape that occurred, besides a bunch of, I think, 24 more instances of harassment of some kind. Was anybody prosecuted as a result of that?
I believe there was a rape that was alleged and presented to the local police department. I don't believe there was...
there was no follow-through on that?
Not that we're aware of.
So we have an alleged crime here that nobody took care of? Was it swept underneath the rug? I mean, this is a very serious crime. I mean, I don't understand how they can get away with this, personally. But you're telling me they swept it underneath the rug?
We're not aware that it was swept under the rug. What we are aware of is what the information that we were able to obtain from the local police department, and that there was
but it is a crime.
No action taken. Rape itself is a crime, of course.
Okay. So we're allowing criminal activities to go on within the agency, then, if that's the case.
Just to add to what Mr. Kim said, there were 2 reports of sexual assault at the Seidman Center. For one of those 2 sexual assaults reported, we understand from the FDIC's Office of Inspector General that no charges were filed because the claims could not be substantiated by law enforcement. And as to the second incident, we understand from the Office of Inspector General that the investigation into that incident is ongoing, so we were not able to get more information about it. The
intimidation of the director have anything to play in that, do you think? The intimidation of the chairman have anything to do with that not being taken up?
There's no indication that the chair related to this.
Very good. Well, Mr. Sue, you know, you took part in the coup that occurred with Ms. Williams over a major disagreement of opinion over a merger issue. Yet you've let this crime go unchallenged. Sexual harassment and racial discrimination, which is documented, continue to go unchallenged. I'm curious as to why we don't take further action. It just boggles my mind, but it's about politics, pure and simple, in my mind. You know, we have a Republican who's the vice chair. If Mr. Gruenberg steps down, you've got a Republican in the chair, and it's all about that. It's not about what's good for the people of the FDIC. It's not what's good for the industry of the banking industry. It's about politics. And that's sad because both of you sit in a position to stop the nonsense.
Has expired.
Please do.